Three, two, one. We're live. Hey, I got a whole nother lamp. Now this, Now this one, Now this one has a charger on it, but it's kind of weird. It doesn't have a lampshade on it. It's this, I don't know. Sorry. But so I got to charge because I wasn't getting prepared. I was too busy watching 3 hours of Bravo. Oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh. Look, it has different levels. A mess. A mess. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulous. This is Angela. Hey, welcome on the chat. And I've got questions for you. What opens with us getting introductions to who's on the stage and how they want to be addressed, whether they're a queen or a princess or a goddess, and what closes with, oh, it's all C now. Bone collector. LC. I don't even know what the hell that means. The reunion was good. Let me just say that. Let's just jump right into it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. I'm so sorry this light is so weird. Next time I'm gonna charge my phone. Charge everything so I don't have to have this. Oh, I need a filter. I don't know what to do. Maybe if I put it up high and look low. It's just really something. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, so we have Andy or whomever asking Miss Ladybug, Portia, about her crown. Is she a queen? What's going on? And she says that she is the goddess of love. So why she got a crown on? What does goddess have to do with? Okay, let's just go with it. He say not the princess of Thoughtlandia. She says she's grown, she's changed, she's moved on now. And then he talks about the fact that both Portia and Cynthia have on big dramatic dresses with trains and everything. He said it's the train station right here. After Watch What Happens Live, it was, looping back on. And I was cracking up watching it again, even though I knew what was going to happen. I really thought that this episode was funny. So there was some concern. I can't remember who I was talking to earlier tonight, but somebody was talking about, is the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion this 3-part thing? Are we going to have to wait? Is the first episode going to be like, But, baby, they got right into it, basically. And at least I was laughing, even if they didn't get into nothing. It was funny to me. So, boom, here we go, jumping right in. They ask, Miss Kenya, it's Mr. and Mrs. Is it, and baby makes 3? And Kenya's like, oh, well, what? Are you asking me a question? And they're like, yeah, we're asking you a question. She's like, well, they caught her on the spot. She wasn't really prepared for that question at that time. Or in that way. Somehow she was caught off guard because she did let us know that they were expecting. And I actually, hey, all right now. And I actually believed it. So I don't know if you, and people are like, well, we'll see if she's pregnant or not. Women have miscarried. All kinds of things can happen. I believe that at the moment when they asked that woman if she was pregnant, Miss Kenya, when they filmed the reunion in Atlanta at the hotel, that she was pregnant. That's what I believe. I believe that. Did you believe it? I believed it. I did not feel like it was part of her act. So 3 minutes in, we already get into the dirt. Now, we had already heard, 8-9 months ago when they filmed the reunion that Kenya announced her pregnancy at the reunion. But I thought it was like an announcement. I didn't know it was kind of like this type of situation. So that was interesting. I liked when they did the montages of the women throughout the 10-year or throughout their history on the show. It was really fun and interesting seeing their different looks and hairstyles and presentation and, all of that. Sheree, now, during the season, that wig that they picked to end it with, I think they were just being shady because that was like her worst look of this season. They could have picked her best look of the season. Why they pick the worst look of the season? Bravo. Bravo, Andy and producers and purveyors of pop. What y'all doing? So Portia ain't shy anymore. She says at some point, I guess when she first came on, she was shy about being publicly sexy, but she's shy no more. She the queen of, I guess she's not the queen of Thoughtlandia. Maybe she's the goddess of love in Thoughtlandia. I don't know. So anyway, okay, so then we find out that, at first I thought, the first time when I watched it, I'm like, okay, so is it, because everybody's been joking all year, it's Sweatsuits by Sheree. So when Shady Andy asked Sheree, so are you wearing She by Sheree? And Sheree said, no, I'm wearing She by Gucci or whatever. And he's like, well, what's up with She by Sheree? And she's like, sweatsuits. And then Candy is like, no, he's asking you about your clothing line. And Sheree is like, yeah, it's athletic wear. It's athleisure. Well, he said athleisure on Watch What Happens Live. That was a little smoother than what she said. And he's like, oh, so you have a line coming out of sweatsuits and stuff? And she said, yeah, well, when is it coming out? Oh, it's going to be September, the spring. You should look for it in the spring. Lies. The lies. I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I'm sorry, Miss Sheree, it was not credible. So I think that because people have been saying, Sweatsuits by Sheree, she was just trying to maybe she got an idea, I'm going to come out with a sweatsuit line. But I don't believe that she's working on anything. I guess that's not really her strength. Some people, I guess, are builders. People have different strengths. And I think she has had the platform. We hear she got fired the other day. She probably no longer has the platform. Maybe some people make it look easy. Like, I feel like Candy makes it look easy. She be up there coming up with business after business after business. She's an inspiration to us all. May we all use the platforms that we had to build something. But then Sheree let us know that just because it look easy, hey, Rowdy Chica, just because some people make it look easy, it's not easy to have that platform and build something on it. So anyway, we gonna look for sweatsuits by Sheree in the spring, which is September. I really liked Cynthia's messy long butted braid. I thought that was really cute. This is Candy talking about it was so much going on. I just did my best to take notes, but again, I really enjoyed it. But Candy is like, what you took me through. I can't do the voice, but y'all know when she get the voice, that's serious. She was serious. Candy was serious. She said, what you took me through last year could have killed my whole brand, and by extension, your livelihood, your children's livelihood, the legacy she's trying to build for her children. That's what Candy is saying to Portia. And Portia is like unrepentant and a fashion show. Who has a fashion show with no fashion? A platform with no platform. A platform with no agenda. And Portia, she was very unrepentant, very unapologetic. She rolls her eyes. So, again, we've said it all season. I'm going to say it again, probably again and again and again. It's really no point in Portia apologizing because Portia is not sorry. When people give apologies like, I'm sorry if you feel like I did something, or I'm sorry for anything I did that may have hurt you, that means that they have not stopped and looked inside and reflected to see this is what I did wrong, and I'm apologizing to you because what I said was inappropriate. I'm sorry for what I said because that was hurtful, that was mean, that was whatever it is, whatever you start. She ain't sorry for nothing. That's why she is unapologetic. So she does need to stop apologizing to me. She's sorry for whatever. Okay, so we come back from the commercial. We got Candy. The shaky voice has gotten even shakier, and Candy is like, we have been on this show long enough, and I thought that this was like very real, that if we say certain things on camera, it's because we want the world to know. And so when you said that about me on camera, it's because you wanted the world to know. So quit trying to fake the funk. And then Portia is like, I'm sorry for whatever I did. So yeah. And then home. I'm like, right, you don't even need to worry about apologizing. And Candy is like, don't even worry about apologizing. And Portia is like, I won't. And she shouldn't, because she's not sorry. Sometimes, and that's the thing about life. Sometimes you just not sorry. She can't see it. Maybe something will happen in her life which will give her the insight and the wisdom, the compassion or whatever to see what might have hurt this woman or upset this woman. But at this point, she just does not have the emotional maturity. She just not able to see it. And you can't make somebody see what they don't see. She don't see it. She just don't see it. And then Andy is like, well, we're going to get into it a little later. And Candy is like, do we have to? And Andy is like, yeah. And it's like, oh, Lord, I know how Candy feel. Candy says, they talk about the fact that her mom forgave Portia, but wouldn't forgive the woman with the short hair who's gone on to insurance business. I can't remember her name, but one of Candy's close circles, one of the women in Candy's circle who her mother accused of having an affair with Todd or something like that. Her mother wouldn't forgive them, but she done forgave Tasha, and then she's dogging out Todd and all of that. And, Candy is like, I was not happy to see that. And then someone from the audience or, someone who wrote in or whatever is like, well, Todd, your mom is saying that Todd is a lemon. That's what your mom thinks, but maybe she's the sourpuss. And we're like, yeah, maybe she is a sourpuss. I'm sorry, Mama Joyce, but it's just how it appears. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And then Candy is like, don't talk about my mama. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about your mama. So let's just keep moving on. Marlo comes in. She wasn't on the stage originally. I did not like what Nene, we just looping back because I'm not really good at doing the whole fashion hair report, but I didn't like what Nene had on. I really liked what the model had on, what Cynthia had on. I thought she looked beautiful. I thought Portia looked really nice. They bodies just look really like snatched and like, whoa. I mean, they just were really, and I can't really remember what anybody else had on. But, I was taking notes and multitasking, eating soup. It'd be a lot of going on. So I can't always watch, until later. Sometimes I get to watch. So Marlo comes in. There's some back and forth. Marlo says that, they ask her about her friendship with Kenya. And Marlo says that she feels that Kenya was never a friend to her, but that Kenya just befriended her. And Kenya said, no, she wasn't a placeholder. I wasn't just befriending her because me and Nene weren't friends. But when we were at that camp, that glamping event, and she said, even your mother doesn't want you, I just let that whole thing go. And then they have like a flashback of that. And I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, I think that, some stuff is over the line. I understand. I know. I see that Marlo is trying to get a peach, but if it was me, I probably wouldn't have anything to say to her too. And y'all remember, and we saw it then, Kenya was real cool about the whole thing. She didn't flare up. She didn't cuss the woman out. It was like, that's when she was done. That's what she said. That's when I would have been done if, I don't know, but I certainly, when you saw it, it was like, dang, that's cold. I thought it was cold. I thought that was cold. And, Kenya says, I let it go then, and that speaks to your character. And Marlo was like, you're such a good actor. You're an actor. You're acting or whatever. And Kenya is like, I am an actor, but I'm not acting. And, you need to stop it. You need to stop worrying about my husband, whether I'm married or not. You need to stop worrying about other people's husband. You need to stop worrying about everyone else's husband. Oh, yeah, I forget because you're a one-trick pony. Or, just a trick. I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Now, I always thought that the trick was the John. Like, if you were a prostitute, the trick was the guy. But I don't know. But anyway, so she had that line already planned out. And she delivers it beautifully. She's good with that. Or, meanly, not beautifully, meanly. She delivers the line meanly. It was so shady. So then there's some talk about John, the pizza guy from Famiglia Pizza in New York. I used to eat there sometimes. and Nene and Kenya is like, talking to Marlo. You tried to blackmail Nene over John. You got $20,000 from him. I couldn't really catch all of what was going on, but what I heard is that after Nene was with the guy, then Marlo got with the guy. I guess he was, I don't know, but she got with the guy. She got into his phone, took pictures of what was in his phone, or sent her, whatever it was, she had some information on Nene that she used to blackmail Nene. So, Kenya basically says that, and, they like, Andy is like, well, Nene did, the woman Marlo blackmail you? And I don't know exactly what Nene said, but Nene did say, I think she's basically like, yeah, she did. But, Nene is like, I'm surprised that John had $20,000 after I left because I worked him. And I was like, what? We out here working people like this? Okay. So I think on the show we saw him buy her some expensive shoes or whatever, but I'm like, dang. I mean, that just seems kind of like, I don't know. I guess it's a certain kind of woman. I guess. Okay. So that was, so I don't know. Was it confirmed or denied that Marlo tried to blackmail Nene? And some people say that she did blackmail Nene because that's why they were friends again and friends on the show, because Marlo had information that Nene didn't want to get out. But Nene like, look, that was when me and my husband weren't together, whatever. So I don't know. So then it's like the question of, is Kenya married? And then someone calls in or writes a question or whatever, and they're like, Kenya, you talked about everybody else's hubby. Do you think that you should be exempt from people talking about your hubby? And Kenya is like, well, now that I'm a wife and I'm married, I understand that what I did was wrong. Now, I thought that was the right thing to say. What else can she say? She's smart. She's relatively quick on her feet. I feel like she comes up with a good argument. I bought the argument. We got to get a woman an opportunity to live and learn and grow and have a new perspective as a wife that she didn't have as a non-wife. But Portia did not want to hear it, didn't want to forgive her. But I felt like she had already circumvented anybody arguing with her about it. To me, it wasn't really nothing else that could be said. And then Andy is like, well, I find it odd that you're on a show about your life and then you go and you get married 2 weeks before the show. And I'm like, I didn't necessarily find that odd because maybe she wanted her privacy. Maybe because she is on a show about her life, she wanted to have some part of her life private. Or maybe it's because she paid the man and he used it to cover his taxes. But I'm just saying, just because you're on a show about your life don't mean they own you. She not a slave. She could have parts of her life that she owns that aren't on TV. Bravo, Andy. I'm just saying. Okay, so then Andy, this is when it got interesting to me, and I hadn't heard anything about this. Bravo, Andy asked, so Kenya, have you met Mark's parents? And oh my God, was Kenya like, it was just weird. It was awkward. It was a pause. She hasn't met the parents. And then she goes on to say that they live in another state. And I'm like, we came by that story because there are planes, trains, and automobiles, Miss Kenya. So that made the whole marriage situation seem kind of suspicious and weird. Like, you haven't met his parents? They live in the United States? What other states? And y'all travel all over the world. And you have the means to travel to meet your husband's people. When I've dated people seriously, you meet their people before you even get to the point of engagement. I don't know. That was very fishy. So to me, it added credence to perhaps, there's the story circulating that that the woman done paid the man. Now that after they got married, he paid off his tax debt, and so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, so Portia's like, well, why would you not tell your good friend Cynthia about you getting married? And I don't know why Portia was so deeply invested in it. The way it read on TV, I was just kind of like, who cares? Why do you care, Portia? I might care as the viewer, but why do you care, Portia? And I really didn't even care as the viewer. But anyway, then Kenya's like, well, Cynthia's not going to like this answer, but Cynthia can't hold water. And then Cynthia's like, that's not true. And the way Cynthia said it, I actually believed it. I believe that she's probably a good and loyal friend. I don't know if it's true, but I just really had that feeling deep in my heart when she said that at that moment. And then Nene is like, well, I didn't know that. And Nene and Cynthia have been knowing each other for a while. So I feel like Kenya came up with that story to try to, explain what had happened. But I don't know if that's what happened. It's not, I wouldn't have told her either. You wouldn't have told her? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would have told her or not told her, but I probably would have been like, I was just sensitive about the whole thing. I've never been married. I was nervous. So I don't know. I don't know if I would have said that whole Cynthia couldn't hold water thing. Because then once it came out, it didn't sound like, you know how you craft the story in your head and it sound good. And then when you say it, you be like, that wasn't the best story. That's how it felt to me. But anyway, I don't feel like she had to tell, like she said and I've said this already, her daddy wasn't there. And that's when the man had asked, were his parents there? Have you met his parents? I was like, okay. But, yeah, okay. So, but why Portia was invested in it, I don't know. So Andy is like, you've been so open about, your life. I think she was just being extra cautious. Yeah, maybe she was. And she's entitled to do that. And Andy is like, well, you've been so open about your life and then your closed book. Because, see, they're mad because they didn't get that stuff on TV. But I feel like people are entitled to privacy. Especially if you're having a fake wedding. I'm not saying it's fake, but that whole thing about her not having not met his parents, I'm still reeling from that. Like I don't know if I'm reeling, but I'm like still processing that. Like, so under what circumstances, because I've been married twice. So, I mean, I'm not saying I've been married 50 times or whatever, but I'm just trying to imagine under what circumstances would I have married someone not having met their people when their people are alive. And even now, that just kind of tripped me out. So then all of the stuff that I've been like, anyway, now I'm kind of like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe. So then Kenya is like, well, being an open book wasn't working. And I thought that was a good answer. And she's entitled to change. A woman, anybody can change their mind, but especially a woman. She said it wasn't working. And Andy is like, well, it's jarring to see you off camera worrying about divorce. Was he threatening you? Because remember when they were down south, I think in Houston, she was like, and that's why he wants to, when she was tripping, he said it was jarring. I don't think he really cares, but he wanted to just bring that point up. And Kenya, the whole vibration, the whole situation with the man feels shaky to me. I was surprised at first, but now I'm thinking they are older and probably meeting the parents isn't a big deal. I don't agree with that. I mean, because I'm like 45. Like, I feel like if somebody's people are alive and I'm thinking about joining with them and connecting with them, I want to meet the people. I want the people to meet me. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, maybe that's just me. I don't know, But no, I don't think it's like meeting the parent. I think that's odd. I do. And I mean, I'm thinking of, people that I know who are, grown people who have gotten married. I mean, that you meet the sisters, the brothers, the auntie, you meet the people. Who are these people? Yeah. So anyway, I'm concerned also about, like when she was at the clinic, this is during the season, and he called in, they were trying to see if she was pregnant or not. And he called in and he said something like, you don't have to do anything except for be worth it. And you're already worth it. It was something in that seemed odd to me. And I know I said it during the episode, but like, now I'm just like processing stuff. It like, it doesn't make like, it's something where I don't feel like she is secure in that relationship. Like, how like, I don't know if but I mean, there are some men for me, I deal with men, but there are some men in some relationships where I've been in where I feel very secure. And there are some situations where I haven't felt secure. Now, I'm not, my personality is such that like I'm security oriented. So, and I don't feel like I'm a like a desperado. So it's like, I'm not going to like be with somebody. She does seem more into him. Like she would change for him, and like she might feel like she has to change for him. And that kind of stuff, I don't know, because I feel like as women, we're inclined, we tend to be more malleable anyway. And so I guess it's kind of like, I just think it's something we have to be aware of and cautious of, because you're going to change. Or, I can't say you, but I mean, I feel like me, if I'm with, like it's just natural. Like you want to please them. You want to make them happy. Like you just start, molding into them and all of that. And then before you know it, you like, where am I? So I feel like as a woman, you kind of have to guard yourself. But anyway, I hope it's everything, that she wants it to be and more. And I hope it's wonderful for her. I'm not wishing her ill will at all. He said he doesn't like the show. Oh, and then, okay. So then Kenya is like, well, it's stressful being on the show. I could follow that. I could buy that. And then Andy went on to say, yeah, it must be hard. He said he doesn't like the show. And he said he feels like it's a bad reflection of black women. Now, I thought he had said it was a bad reflection of black men, but that's what Andy said. And then Kenya is like, well, the blogs will say anything or something to that effect. And then Andy said, no, he said it to my colleagues. So it was like Andy really put her on the spot, and then Kenya was silent, and it was kind of like really awkward. Like she's trying to advance the story, and Andy is like, no, I'm not gonna let you, because sometimes he'll just shut up, but he didn't really shut up. It was like he kind of put her on the spot. They're really mad at her for getting married, which I don't really think is fair. And then Kenya is like, he never watched the show. And then that's something where I'm just kind of like, is that credible? Like if I'm dating somebody, even if I hit, like, I don't like, we were talking about golf today. If I'm I don't like cars. If I'm dating somebody, I'm not into cars and fixing cars, and I can't say it, but if they're into something, then you learn a little something. If I'm dating somebody who on a TV show, I never watched the show before, you're going to tell me I'm not going to watch an episode or something? I just don't believe it. I just didn't find that was credible. So I didn't believe that. I feel like she's trying to advance the story that, he wasn't familiar with the show. He was awkward and uncomfortable. Because she had probably already probably said what was really going on. And now she's trying to walk it back to keep her peach, keep her job. And I feel like sometimes when women get married and the men are the sole providers, it is a really wonderful situation. Sometimes when women get married and men are the sole providers, it's not. So what I was going to say is she needs to keep her income. But I don't know. Maybe she doesn't need to keep her income. I guess that's between her and her husband and God. But she probably needs to keep her income. That's all I'm saying. Because then it's nothing like being in a situation where that makes you even more of a desperado. That makes you even more like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because we know that, for a lot of people, this show is like a second chance opportunity for them to have some type of semi-viable income. You know what I mean? She's not a starlet anymore. Her acting career doesn't seem to be jumping off. Her producing career doesn't seem to be jumping off. Her hair care line, I don't know if it's jumping off or not, but you certainly don't get that impression from the show. So, the income from the show is her income. And if she just depended on him, I don't know. So there's a difference between a nose ring and a piercing. There was that whole thing, and I was like very confused. And then I was like, oh, I guess a nose ring is like a hoop, and then a piercing could just be like a diamond stud. I didn't really understand what the big distinction was, but it was. We had a whole conversation about it. BSA episode. I don't know what Kenya. So Kenya goes on to say that I thought they were the same. Right. I didn't know, but I thought about it, and I've decided that a nose ring is like a ring, like a hoop, and a piercing it could just be like a stud. You can have a piercing that has a stud in it. You can have a piercing that has a ring. Her man don't have a ring. He not a pirate. He just got a stud because he's a stud, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. But they went on to talk about her PSA episode, and she said something about how it was the best rated episode of all of the episodes of Real Housewives or Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know, but it made me laugh. Like, I'm like, yes, it was bigly. It was the best episode ever. It was the best episode in TV history. Everybody knows that. Like, I'm like, girl, you doing the most. I'm glad you had the PSA thing, and you know that's good, but it's okay. Who will be the next to get married? There's this whole conversation about that. And then Sheree says that she's going to be the next to get married. And Kenya's like, oh, you get married in prison. That's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing about that. Because, you know, people in prison are people too, and they're viable human beings. And it shouldn't even be a joke. But anyway, are you getting married in prison? And then it's kind of like this whole weird thing. Yeah, it was fun. See, sometimes the shade is mean and funny, and that's bad because then it makes us like, you know, we have to just laugh about it in private. We can't laugh about it publicly because we don't want to be mean girls. I don't want to be a mean girl, but it was kind of funny. Then it's this whole back and forth about that. And then Portia's like, okay, well, me. And then they're like, well, are you in a serious relationship? And I guess she is. So she thinks she about to get married next. Is it to this guy she dating from the radio show? Is it Smiley? What's the man's name? Not Tavis Smiley. I can't think of his name, but her colleague, boss, non-boss type guy who was rubbing on her booty when they went skating and she fell. So Portia, sorry, not sorry enough. That's like Ricky Smiley. Oh, Tavis Smiley. Are they both Smileys? Maybe that's why I got it confused. So then we have another segment about Portia, sorry, not sorry enough. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And Portia's like, you know, I didn't want to ruin the relationship with Nene because she's been very supportive of me, blah, 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 blah. Because I guess they were asking about how at the end of the episode, good night, Miss Fab, have school early in the morning. Thanks for checking in. Sleep well, rest well, and wake up and go learn everything. And you can always catch the rest of the thing whatever minute we're in. We're at minute 31, so you can just pick back up there. So how Portia, you know, how when she was leaving Spain, because we think that she really hit the man. Hit not the man. Because we really think she hit Marlo, but they covered it up. Remember, that's what the gossip was. That Nene and, you know, they covered up the hitation so they wouldn't have to kick her off the show. And that Portia was talking to Nene and like, how did y'all get to be friends? And Portia's like, well, I didn't want to ruin the relationship because Nene has been so supportive, blah, 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 blah. And then we heard that they invited Candy to be on Dish Nation. And Candy is like, I'm too busy. Maybe you should consider Portia. And that she had Portia on her stage play, in her stage play about how my mama don't like my man. I can't remember what the stage play was, but how Candy has been very supportive of Portia. And so we sitting there like, well, what about Candy? You didn't feel nervous to, you know, undermine that relationship? And then Portia is basically like, well, Nene kept the door open, but Candy has been maybe not with her words, but with her behavior. The door is closed. Candy seems like she's been a good friend. I think that Portia I think she's a lightweight, and I don't know. I just don't think she has the same. I don't think she's like mean, but I think she's a user. Yeah, she's probably a user. And I think that I don't think that her like freaking frack, I don't think that whole thing was like good for elevating her and helping her to grow and develop. I think it kind of like made her like, it didn't inspire her to be more. I think she was like less, you know, and I'm not saying she ain't really got a lot to work with. Dang, that don't sound good. But anyway, so yeah, I felt the same way as Candy. When Candy said, well, what about me? I was like, yeah, what about me? Then Nene, there's a whole thing about the firing of freaking frack. Well, I never said the firing. I said they should go, and I didn't call anybody. She was meaner with Phaedra. I think she's kind of mean because remember when that woman, I can't remember her name, but she was half Italian, and she also worked at Dish Nation. What was her name? And remember, there was this one scene where that woman she was a housewife too for like one season, and she tried to talk to Portia, and Portia was so mean and dry to her, like just it was like, she was like really mean. And like, how can you be that mean if you're not that mean? So I just really believed that we saw into like her heart. Like, I feel like she can play like light and fluffy and but I felt like in that moment, I can't remember what that child's name was, but in that moment I was like, she is not, Portia can be really mean. So yeah, I think that Phaedra brought out the meanness, and I think that Phaedra can be really mean too. Faye. I mean, and Kenya can probably, Kenya can be mean. You know, some of these people, Nene can be mean. You know, some of these people are not really, you know, they're interesting. They make for good TV. But I mean, would I want to be friends or around any of these people? Would I feel safe, comfortable, secure? No, I don't think so. Probably Candy. I feel like Candy is more or less who she, you know, I would, you know, but anyway. So then they go back and forth about the firing, and I didn't say fire, and Portia is basically like, look, basically what you said is that you wanted me to lose my job, and that just hurt my feelings. And Nene is like, okay, I received that. I received that. Okay, that was good. I thought that was good. So there's a whole conversation about trust between Sheree, and Sheree is like, I've never given you this talk. Sheree talking about proud of Nene. Oh, you were proud of Nene. I feel like shit, she 45, 50 years old. If we can't do that, what we out here doing? But yeah, I was glad she did that, because that's the simplest thing to do. And that's honest, you know, just, you know, we ain't got to go through semantics. I didn't, all of that, girl, please. All season, we were like, girl, please. I remember how she used to be. So then we talk about trust, and Sheree talking to Portia about Portia saying, don't trust any of these girls, to Shamia when she was leaving Spain. No, not even Sheree, or maybe she didn't specifically say Sheree. I don't really remember. But Sheree is like, I've never given you a reason not to trust me. And they kind of go back and forth. And then Portia asked the right question. Portia's like, do you trust me? And Sheree pauses, and she don't say anything. And then she says, I trust you about as far as I can throw you. So then it's like, what are we arguing about? You don't trust me. I don't trust you. We work together on a TV show. Girl, boo, bye. What are you doing? That's what I'm like, because even in the first place, I'm like, what is she doing? So, but they go back and forth, and apparently, you know, Portia has apologized to Sheree. Andy, do you think that you owe her an apology? Portia is like, for what? Andy is like, for saying not to trust Sheree. And Portia is like, well, let's talk about it. And Andy is like, we are talking about it. I thought that's what we were doing. But she had given Sheree one of those, if I hurt you apologies, that I don't think she owned. And Sheree basically is like, yeah, you apologized, but now you up here justifying what you did, so was it really an apology? I didn't really feel like she owed her an apology, but yeah, yeah, all of that. If I hurt you apologies, you could just keep those. Sheree is, she says she's loyal to who's loyal to her, and somebody says, i.e. Kim. I think Portia says that. And I'm like, but is Kim loyal to Sheree? Because I need evidence. Is there evidence of Kim's loyalty to Sheree? Because I don't think of Kim as, and I had said I wasn't going to say her name. Croy's wife. We're going to go back to Croy's wife. But anyway, Sheree is like, I don't have to carry any bones that I don't want to carry. And there's this whole like back and forth thing. At some point, Nene is like, girl, you really not looking good. And she's really not looking good. I don't know if she knows how she's being perceived, but she's really not being perceived well. I don't know if anybody feels bad that she got fired. It seemed like a lot of people thought that it was funny. She comes across like Uncle Tom. It's not a good look. And it's like, it's not even like, I never really hear anybody arguing on her behalf. Everybody else, I hear people arguing on Portia. You always hear people arguing on for some. I don't hear anybody arguing for Sheree. And it's like Sheree doesn't have any conscience. I don't know. But she's like, she doesn't have to carry the bones. She don't want to. She's gotten Nene into clubs. When Nene wasn't anybody, she didn't owe her an apology. Sheree bone carrier can't be trusted. Right. And then at ATLian Michelle Brown had said that when the show first started, now I didn't realize it, that Sheree was supposed to be the star of the show. She was supposed to be the wealthy one who lived in the gated community, and Nene was just supposed to be a friend. Nene didn't have wardrobe. Nene didn't have, you know, she didn't really have anything going for her. Her husband wasn't anybody like that we had heard of, but Sheree was supposed to be the star, but that Nene's personality just pushed through and she ended up being the star. And so they both Kim and I'm always tardy for the party. Tardy for the trailer park. That's what Michelle Atielian says. But that basically Sheree and Croy's wife have not really forgiven Nene for becoming the breakout star. Now there's no accounting for charisma and who's going to be attractive to the people and who's going to be funny. Because I mean, you know, Nene just had that personality that pushed through, and Sheree really didn't read well even at the beginning. But that Sheree is like, well, I got you into clubs when you were nobody, and we got you tickets. And Nene is like, I thought we were friends, so why are you, I don't understand what you're saying. You know, you don't owe loyalty. Like her whole argument, I didn't follow it. I didn't appreciate it. I don't really appreciate her. And she says it's Bone Collector LLC. And then Kenya's like, oh, it's a LLC now. So I think that was the end of the episode. But for part one of a reunion, I was like, it just seemed like it was a lot going on. There were things that were revealed that I didn't really know about, or the way that they were revealed, particularly with Kenya. There were like a couple moments where it was like, I wish that I was just watching and not watching and taking notes, because it was like some stuff going on. I don't think it really matters. I'm not going to lose sleep about it. It's not going to make my life better or worse. But I enjoyed the reunion. I'd give it a solid A, maybe even an A+. So that's it. I still got 2 more shows to review. I did Your Husband Is Cheating on Us. I abbreviated it YHICOU. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? But anyway, and then I did Real Housewives of Potomac. So I got to keep it moving. Thank you so much for being here, whether it's live or on replay. If you came in late, you know, once it goes up, you can go back and listen to it. I appreciate you. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn anything? Was it... thanks, fun chatting with you. And then furthermore, I did watch What Happens Live, and it wasn't nothing in particular that I can think of that I need to add to this review. I always watch it like, oh, I'm going to watch it in case there's something I need to add, but I don't know. That's what I got. I appreciate y'all for being here, because it really makes recording. I got to check that bell. Oh yeah, check the bell. If you are not subscribed, and if you have not hit the notifications bell, hit the notifications bell so that you can, when we do come on live, you can catch us live. If you can't catch us live, us, because it's us, the Fabulites. If you can't catch us live, Fabulites. If you can't catch us live, you can catch us on the replay. But at least with the bell, you know when the lives is happening, and right. So that's what I got. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous.